Alright, hello. So, you know, I've always been a big fan of Deep Purple. Actually, that's one of the first bands that I ever, heard in my life. I started listening to seriously. So I figured, since I've already done all these kind of, you know, album ranking videos for some other bands, why not do for them as well. But of course, since they, recently did the last 10 years, they released several albums, and I haven't yet been able to hear them all. And that's why I made my top 10, my own personal top. Even though I haven't heard the last one, especially, I doubt that this is something that will make my top 10 to be honest, because even though they still do can make some good music, it's not what it used to be, right? I mean, even that whole Steve Morse lineup can hardly be compared to the classic Mark II lineup with Richie Blackmore, so and John Moore, of course. So here goes my 10 best Deep Purple albums. At number 10, it's the only one with Steve Morse, of course. The first one, Perpendicular, from '95. It's really a fine, fine, heavy rocking album. It shows the Purple who were kind of been liberated, in a musical sense after Blackmore left, because they apparently weren't allowed to stretch their muscles so much with him in the last years with Blackmore. So they kind of sound rejuvenated strictly as musicians, as players, on this album, definitely. So my standout tracks are, of course, the lovely ballad. Sometimes I feel like screaming. I also like Losing My Strings, which is another, of course, ballad. And then we have A Castle Full of Rascals, I like, um, and A Touch Away, really beautiful song. And at the end, of course, Perpendicular Waltz. Awesome. Alright, moving on. Number 9, this is their last album with Richie Blackmore, of course, the Battle Rage song. Now, I was a few years back, I would probably even rank it higher, but now that I think of it, it's probably not better than number 9. And the reason why is that some of those songs, there are some really good, great, really standout tracks, but some of those songs, like One Man's Meat, for instance, and Ramshackle Man, they sound a bit dated and not so challenging, but boring, put it way mediocre. While the best songs like the title track, for instance, and Time to Kill, A Twisting Tale, Solitaire, they are really beautiful songs, really good songs. Yeah, sorry. So there isn't much more to say. It's a hit and miss album, I would say, but still, it's good enough to make the top 10, I believe. Yeah, and especially it has a symbolic value, historical value, let's say, because it's the last one with the classic lineup from '93, Battle Rage song, number 9. Number 8, we got Perfect Strangers, which was, of course, the reunion album from '84. This one also doesn't have, it's not perfect, but it's still pretty strong, And the title track, especially, is really, really, impressive. And something new. It was something new, They changed their sound, and they had to, I guess. It was the '80s, and just playing the same old 70s and late 60s heavy rock would have not really, done the trick back then. So they have to kind of, but they still play, they still rock, on this album as well. Some other good songs are Gypsy's Kiss, for instance. Not Responsible, pretty, unusual song for them, Yeah, and of course, what else? Yeah, Knocking at Your Back Door. That's right. And so, Perfect Strangers at number 8. At number 7, we have the only one from the first lineup here on this list, which is Deep Purple. Simply the third album from 69 with Rod Evans on vocals and Nick Simper on bass. This is one of their most unusual records, even for the first lineup, which was the most unusual, I must say. And it's their most artsy album as well. This is pure art rock. So John Lord never had so much influence on any other album as on this one, because here he even gets two. I mean, he wrote one song, which is Blind, a lovely song by himself, and the other, it was mostly him, but Ian Pace had some, drumming arrangement, which was Chasing Shadows, also one of my, I would say, favorites on this album. So this also has that their longest song ever, which is April, like sweet, like combination of an instrumental and with the traditional instruments. Then you get a string section which lasts about 3 minutes, which is pure classical, of course. Then you get the rocks, the ending with the singing and all that. Yeah. So we also have bird. This bird has flown, and the bird has flown, which is pretty interesting. So Deep Purple for 69 at number 7, and at number 6, Stormbringer. Yeah, Stormbringer, which was, I guess, their most successful maybe album from the Mark III lineup with David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to say which album is better, the Stormbringer or Burn, but I think, Stormbringer has some really classic tracks, such as the title track and Soldier of Fortune, and yeah, Lady Double Dealer. That's right. It still has some. It's a kind of weakened by some of those more like funky soul, like even pop songs such as Hold On and uh, what's the name of the song? Love Don't Mean a Thing, and yeah, and of course Highball Shooter, which is probably the weakest song there. Yeah, so there is some tardiness going on here, but still, those the best songs are really, standouts, the ones I mentioned. Yeah, that's right. Even Love Don't Mean a Thing has a good melody, and also Holy Man, a really lovely song. And yeah, written by Glenn Hughes. So you got Stormbringer at number 6. At number 5, it's Burn. Burn. So yeah, this was the first album without Gillan Glover. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, the title track is the strongest one, but also Mistreated is a pretty strong song, a ballad. Yeah, and also you had songs like Sail Away, which is also rather uncharacteristical for them. I like a ballad, type of song. Yeah, so we have some good numbers, and the only ones I don't like are, well, I don't like them that well anyway. Uh, I just cannot remember the names. Uh, think lay down, stay down. It's not that bad, but And what's going on here? Yeah, that's one. That's my least favorite. So we have Burnt on Fire. Number four, Fireball, which is definitely the weakest album by the best lineup, but still, good enough to be a number four, which says everything about how good that Mark II lineup was. It really was phenomenal. So Fireball, yeah, Fireball is a little bit of weird record. It's got the title track, which is of course one of their classic songs. But then you have No No No, which is, in my opinion, a little bit too long. It doesn't have any particular hooks, anything catchy about it. Just no, 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 do do. No. Got a nice solo on guitar, but yeah, it's nothing special really. Then you got Demon's Eye, which is a pretty good bluesy song, and then Nobody's some what's that called? I forgot again. Somebody's Daughter. Yeah, it's nice enough, but it's rather not. I don't think that should have been on that record. It's too lightweight. It's not of their calibers. It's typical Ian Gillan song. Obviously, I think he wrote most of that song. Actually, probably also the music because it's not you know that good, that strong musically. It's an amusing little song anyway. And you got Fools, which is very, very heavy, very, very interesting, like a social commentary song, yeah, which is very the longest one, I think, of the album. And the Mule, yeah, and then the No One Came, which is pretty nice song, which actually underrated, I believe, funky, yeah. So that's Fireball, number four. And number three, Who Do We Think We Are? Definitely a very underrated album, I would say. It doesn't get enough recognition because it's got really interesting, some good songwriting. And John Lord is really at his best with his solos, really wow. Some mind blowing organ solos there. Who do we think we are? So we got Woman from Tokyo, Mary Long, Super Trooper, Red Bad Blue, and yeah, some stuff like that. Smooth. What's what's the name of that song? Oof, I'm so poor with titles. Wow. This song, which is about Richie Blackmore, actually, where he sings Black Suede, yeah, like Smooth Dancer or whatever. So that was pretty interesting. It was like Gillan's song against actually Richie Blackmore, like a diatribe. But I guess he didn't see it, so otherwise I don't think he will be want to play on it, and we perhaps would have tried to stop it from getting recorded. So yeah, that was a very interesting album, very very unique and creative, I would say. Even though there were, the climate in the group wasn't so good, it was almost you could see Elon was ready to leave, and then Glover left. Also, he was kicked out. Actually, he didn't go. He didn't leave by himself. So anyway, and Our Lady, it's one of their most beautiful songs. Actually, I think a very underrated song. I would put it actually on my life soundtrack. That's how much I like it. I love it. Alright, who do we think we are? At number two, well, this is pretty tough also. Choosing number one, number two, it's like, yeah, Machine Head and In Rock. Well, I said it already. I gave away number one. But I think most of you who know Deep Purple would have guessed. Well, in rock is at number two, and but still, I would most likely put them both at number one because it's really hard to decide which one I like better. But anyway, in rock is our Machine Head is arguably a little more diverse. Yeah, it's not while in rock is just doom, 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 heaviness, but it's still got very uh, it's got a lot of creativity. It's got a lot of how to say, yeah, good music simply in rock, which of course the most famous, perhaps I mean one of the iconic songs, which is most often apart from Smoke and Water, of course, connected with the band is Child in Time. Yeah, definitely. So you got an organ intro, of course, which is I learned to play that when I was like I don't know 14 maybe 13. So most of us who have listened to them and have ever had a keyboard of some sort of we just had to learn to play that intro in rock, and yeah, it's got plenty of good I mean other songs as well. Bloodsucker, Speed King, of course. Flight of the Rat, pretty interesting song too. Into the Fire, Living Wreck, and of course, Hard Loving Man in the end. True classic. Alright, and then finally, number one, Machine Head. Yeah, wow. This was the album that they recorded in Switzerland, of course, and yeah, I mean, this was the like the pinnacle of the band, of course, the apex, and they were on their top both as songwriters and players, musicians. And yeah, you could hear that on the first track, which is Highway Star, clearly with those solos. I mean, both solos are amazing, just mind blowing. They should belong on the lists of the best guitar and organ solos ever, in rock music. And there's nothing more to say than that, really. And then you have some more, so that song, one song didn't make the final cut, unfortunately, but later it was featured, I guess, on some reissues. That is When a Blind Man Cries, yeah. And I heard it was a mostly Glover written song, actually. And yeah, it was a way for Richie to keep Glover, away from getting his own credit, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you got what are the songs, of course. You got Lazy. Wow, that's great blues improvisation, of course. You have just a second when I open to see all the songs. I forgot so easily now, since it's been a while since I had pictures of home. I love that song. Wow, never before. I must have heard it like I don't know 1,000 times. It was my brother's one of his favorite songs also, and Space Trucking. Yeah, Smoke on Water, of course, became such a massive hit. It's not one of my favorite, yeah, favorite songs by Purple, but it became so huge, So, alright, so that was it. That was my top 10 Deep Purple albums, I really love these guys, and they could really play and sing, yeah. So, thank you for watching. Till the next time, bye bye.